So I'm going to be attempting to install this light here on the back of my boat today. And I'm really not sure how this is going to go. I'm pretty sure I know how to do it, but we're going to find out. Hopefully, I'm going to try to install this light. I'll put a link in the description. It's a pretty good light, I think. Yeah, that's what this video is going to be today. Me installing a light. Hopefully I don't get shocked.
What you're seeing me do here after I crimped the wires together is I'm wrapping electrical tape around the outside of that just for extra precaution. It's not absolutely necessary, but I figure why not, you know, especially with it being kind of an outdoor wire. It's going to get water on it. There's no harm in giving a little extra protection. Ideally, you would want to use a heat shrink wrap, but I didn't have any heat shrink wraps on me at the time, so I just used the electrical tape. And I'm not crazy, that's my dog growling at bumblebees and trying to eat them, as well as growling at everyone who goes by, and I'm just kind of talking to her because I'm out there by myself. I'm including this stuff just so you can see the actual process. It does take a little while to make sure that you're hooking everything up properly. You do want to use the proper terminals and make sure you're hooking the positive up to the positive and the negative to the negative. But I just wanted to include this. You know, also you're seeing me use the tools there. You're going to need these things to make sure you do it right. I wouldn't skimp on that. And I'm going to put a link in the description to all the tools that I'm using, at least most of them. And I put the cheapest ones that I could find on there. My suggestion would be to kind of up it a little bit and find some of the tools that are a little more expensive than the ones I put on there. I just tried to find the cheapest ones on Amazon. Also, what you might notice right here is that hole that I drilled, I did that prior to making the video. I didn't think you wanted to sit there and watch me make the hole in the wood. That's fairly straightforward to do. You're going to need a power drill and you're going to need something to cut the hole. I didn't actually have what I needed, which is why it looked so bad. I kind of just improvised there. But I would suggest having the proper tools. I didn't, so I improvised. But it definitely helps when you have the right tools. My daughter just happened to be walking by here, but I was struggling because I had already cut my fingers at least 3 times. You can see the band-aids all on my fingers. A lot of the video footage I couldn't use because YouTube doesn't like blood. But my daughter came by. I couldn't really grab the terminal the way that I needed to, so I had her come and crimp the wire for me, but that's why she walked over and did that for me. Also, as we finish up here, I use a ammo box to hold my small battery in, and it kind of keeps it in place a little bit better. But now I'm cooking everything up to make sure everything works, and it does. Fantastic. Let's move on. Okay, so I spent the entire day today installing this right here. It is the base for this light pole so that I could have some light in the back of the boat. I successfully hooked it up. I've already had it turned on. It works great, but I need a better way to turn the battery on and off than what I currently use. So right now, this is what I currently use to hook my battery up. But if you look at that, it's getting a little bit corroded and getting harder and harder to plug in and out. And so I purchased this probably a few months ago, and I just never used it. And so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this up. I think this is pretty easy to do. I YouTubed it and Googled it, and I think all I got to do is just send the negative on here to the battery, and then I'm going to run the positive through here. I'm pretty sure that's how it works from everything that I've read and the videos that I've watched. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run this through here, and then I'm going to see if it works. So if you want to learn how to hook up a battery on and off switch, I think that's what it's called, then stick around and watch the video. I'm actually going to nip this up here. And I think I'm just gonna mount the this right there. This is what goes to the battery on this side. And again, the negative is gonna go straight down to the battery, and the positive is gonna go in here. So I believe the best thing to do here is to clip it right here. As we begin to hook up the battery on-off switch, it's really the same process. All you're just going to want to make sure that you hook your positive up to the positive and the negative up to the negative. This was a little easier because all I really had to do was run the negative straight down to the battery, and then the positive really just goes through the battery switch, kind of an in and out kind of thing. And it's really fairly straightforward to do this. This probably took me around 25 minutes to do. They ran the positive wire out of the back of the rocker switches and brought it in here and hooked it up to one of the terminals, and on the other terminal I brought the positive that will go all the way around back here down to where my battery sits, which I'll show you when it's all done. So that's pretty much ready to go. All I got to do is screw this in now to where I want it. I'm really not sure where I'm going to put it yet. Yeah, so that's where that's going to go. Now I got to hook up the negative to the negative. And so this is the negative wire that comes out of here. And this is going to go straight down to the battery as well. I don't want too much exposed wire there. So we got that out nice and easy. These connectors sure do make the job a lot easier. This is really just me kind of finishing everything up. You know, you want to just make sure you're, again, hooking the positive to the positive, the negative to the negative. I think I'm working on the negative wire right here so that I can hook it up to go down to the battery. I'm also going to be consolidating some of the wires here. Now I'm beginning to drill the switch down into the John boat because I'm pretty much finished at this point. At this point, you're going to notice that I'm using a screwdriver to hand tighten the screws down in there. I made the hole with the drill and then I hand tightened the screws down. I don't want to strip the screws going into that aluminum like that. You get one shot at this and you don't want to mess it up. It's better to hand tighten it. Also, I want to mention that I also consolidated all of my negative wires. I had like 4 wires going down to the negative battery terminal. It made it really difficult to manage them when I'm putting them on the battery. So I went ahead and consolidated those. The biggest thing you want to remember, if you do that as well, you don't use any less than a 12 gauge wire, 12 AWG, because you're going to have different currents going through there. Just something to consider. If you're looking to do the same, you want to be safe with your electrical system. Especially also use marine grade wire. All right, so it's been a couple days since I hooked up my back light here, and I also cleaned up all the wires. You remember during when I was making all this stuff, this was just a mess. It was a complete wreck right here. So I kind of organized all that and consolidated some of the wires. I also installed this switch right here the other day, and again, this was all just a mess, so I wanted to clean all that up. So let me show you the lights that I hooked up. Turn all this stuff off. So the switch is right here. That turns those lights on right there. Let me turn it back off. And then this is the light that I installed. So it does a pretty good job lighting the boat up. You know, you can see in here well enough. And then I also got these lights there hooked up. So they're just for whoever's sitting really up front here. And then I also got my headlights hooked up there. So those are the lights that I got all hooked up. So yeah, the other one goes in my fish finder, but that's doesn't need to be hooked up right now. But yeah, those are what I worked on hooking up. I really do like this LED light. It costs about $50 on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description. Also gonna put a link in the description for this battery switch here too. Overall, I feel like it was a pretty easy install, good purchase. And what I also ended up doing is up here, let me show you real quick. This is kind of a future project. Let me get down in here. So right there, you can see another battery that I strapped in there. So what that battery is going to be for is I'm going to replace these navigation lights there. It's really not, it's just a little battery. So what I'm going to do is probably install some navigation lights up here, red and green. And then also maybe some lights on the side here that might look kind of cool. So if you appreciate the content, it's free to leave a like. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe if you like this kind of content. I promise I am gonna go fishing this year. It's just still a little chilly for me. We're definitely gonna head out and go fishing when it gets warmer. I got some new lures that I wanna use, and I can't wait to start making videos of me actually catching fish. All right, I'll see you next time.